Hello and welcome to Luxury Live. I am your hostess, Andrea Faye, and I'm here to show you how to make over your whole life so you could be luxurious like me. And oh, yay, I see Mickey's joining already. Yes, my first guest. Welcome to Luxury Live. Tonight's topic I'm so excited about. But of course, as you know, if you have any questions at all about my areas of expertise, you can always pop them in the comments as we go along. And just to clarify, that is styling, fashion, personal styling and personal style, interiors and art, and curating. So yes, feel free to ask me. All right, so tonight's topic is, oh, yay, Deja June has joined. Hello. Thank you for joining Luxury Live. And yay, thank you for joining. Yes, tonight's topic is, I'm surprised actually quite a bit of my audience loves minimalism as much as I do. So I'm going to keep going on the minimalist train, talk a little bit about interiors, more so than fashion. Up until this point, I've addressed personal style, maybe more towards the ends of fashion, but I want to go into curating and editing and organizing your interior space. And this is an organization, like tips for organization episode. It's funny to me to call it an episode, but it's okay. It's my show. It's my weekly show. Yes. So this one is how to organize, but it's a little bit of a different approach on how to organize, in that it still has design included and how to make things beautiful and organize for the sake of making a more beautiful interior space, but still functional. So, yay! Stone has joined. Yay! I'm so happy. Great to see you guys. So a couple of you are new to Luxury Live, so like my old lives, I still am doing a special topic each week, but you're also welcome to ask me any questions. So it's still a live Q&A, just with one more focused area of topic. So if you want to ask me questions on the topic as we go along, you can in the comments, or on anything related to style, you can as well. Sorry, I have to say that a couple times. All right, so let's join into today's topic, which is organization and minimalism, but organizing for a nicer interior aesthetic. So, where to put things? That's always the biggest. Here's the great reveal for what this whole thing means: is where do you put the things that you own? Which brings me into storage. So when I first started writing this episode, I was like, I'm going to write about storage. So exciting. But, this is like a rather serious topic, because I read the KonMari books maybe even 3 years ago, and I absolutely love them. I've applied her method, to the T, and it gave me so much information. And, at that time I was going through a whole minimalist journey. So KonMari is not specifically minimalist. She more has a methodology with how to go through the things that you own. There isn't like a quantity focus on it. So anyways, I went through all of her books, I read both of her books, The Magic Art of Tidying Up, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, and Spark Joy. And when I read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, I had a large number of unanswered questions, which I felt that Spark Joy really did a great job of kind of addressing those. But there was one question that I never felt she addressed that kind of gnawed at me mentally, and that was furniture. She doesn't give you a methodology on how much furniture to have, how to decide if a piece of furniture is worth keeping, and does anyone else have this feeling? I know a couple of you have read her books, but yeah, so this ate at me for a little while, and I had to talk with my friend who puts up with my pragmatism, and I came up with it in the form of a graph. Can you guys see this? Oh, I have to back it up. All right, so it's way too wide for the vertical. So here what this graph shows you is, and it's reversing the text. This says number of belongings to number of furniture. And basically, hi Denitha, you're here. I made a graph on how to decide how much furniture to own. So hashtag belongings, no, just number belongings to number of furniture. And what this means is that everyone has to have a certain quantity of belongings and furniture. And that is all. The big thing for furniture is you need a place to sit, you need some comfort, you need a certain amount of ambience. So those are like the pieces of furniture that every person pretty much needs, unless they're into some extreme lifestyle with no furniture. And then, so, yes, this is pattern paper. So then as you have the number of belongings, you definitely need more storage space. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments. So that increases the quantity of furniture you have, but at some point you cap out and you shouldn't have any more furniture. So that is my beautiful graph. Yes, sorry, I know it's inverse. I didn't quite consider that. When I made the chart, I just felt like making the chart. But I can further explain the chart if it wasn't quite clear because it was backwards. So basically, yes, the question that KonMari did not answer for me was how to decide on furniture, and I think you could work backwards. So as you declutter, you may find that you need less furniture, and then reach a point where, you know, you've maybe eliminated some extra pieces of furniture that were used for storage space. Time to learn how to write backwards. That's a good one. But yeah, there are, you know, certain requirements for having furniture as well. So, or certain things that furniture provides. So anyways, that was kind of the inspiration for tonight's topic is, yes. Let me check in. Deja June says nerd. I know. I thought, well, I wanted to be entertaining too. I figured it wouldn't hurt to, you know, give some visual examples, even though it didn't quite work. Ginger says, sounds like a turkey bag. Well, yes, it is pattern paper, not a turkey bag. But the nice thing about pattern paper is it has numbers and lines, so I could make sure to draw a straight line for my graph. Deja June says, it's a mirror image, words are backwards, and time to learn how to write backwards. Yes, I will take that into mind for the next graph that I showcase on Luxury Live. Okay, so when you're trying to organize or going about organizing your interiors, the way I'm proposing you could look at it is from two different angles. So first angle is efficiency and functionality. The second is aesthetic and design. And these can be interchangeable. They both are important for how you decide to organize your belongings, but also do it in a visually pleasing way. So let's see. Sorry, I got lost in my notes. 1 second. So yeah, I guess this is next part of my notes is a little bit more about my own philosophy. I still do consider myself a minimalist, more so than the KonMari method. And that's just because I think I always want to lean towards less is more and quality over quantity. So everything that I own, if there's something that I can get rid of or eliminate in place of something that's either more in line with my personal style or more in line with the functionality of my life, then I will deviate in that direction. So that's how I think about minimalism now rather than the number of items that I own. And there are a couple ways you can do this that I've talked about before, and that's either just more discipline in what you do choose to buy. So maybe save up or plan to buy things that will last longer, and if it's a little bit more of a discipline away from just buying things for this because they're on sale or because the marketing seemed good, just developing good habits on saving up and planning. So that's functionality, and back to furniture again. So furniture has the following things. It provides seating and comfort and ambiance. So for me, especially in the gallery, I know that my clients or the ambience I want to create for the gallery requires a certain level of comfort. So the seating, having plenty of places to sit, having kind of moving parts. I have a lot of chairs that I can easily move around if people are kind of gathering in a specific part of the shop. So knowing kind of the atmosphere you want to create is a good decision on how much furniture to have. And also, how are people going to be moving about in the area, and what needs need to be met. So an eating area, a dining table or a bar, if you have a bar area, places for people to gather and move. So when you're organizing your furniture, it's good to either visualize how people have moved about your space before without you directing them, and take that into mind, or figure out how you want to rearrange the space so that people feel drawn into different parts. So for me, the comfortable seating is very much a part of that. Having plenty of places to sit, having a little bit of an interactive feeling to it, while still maintaining kind of the clean, organized, art gallery look to it. So then, of course, the next part of an interior is the storage again. And of course, I'm looking at a few things that need to be organized and put into storage in my design studio here off camera. So you want to figure out where to put things based off of kind of your routine. So for me, I'm very regimented. The reason why I can pretty much get my makeup done every morning and more or less style my hair, have an outfit that I feel confident in, all of the things that relate back to my prior talks on personal style, it's because I've created a storage system as well of where everything is so that I don't have to think about it in the morning and I can move and get things done, have everything accessible. So that's one way I just have decided where to place things and where to organize places to store them. Back to efficiency and functionality. So you're looking to your lifestyle and things you need also influences deciding whether or not to keep something, but also where you are going to place it. I guess my kitchen as well is part of my routine because I make pour over coffee every morning. And my kitchen is a good example of kind of maybe the first idea around incorporating the functionality into the aesthetic. And that is kind of a rule that I've maybe decided on, and that is that I'm only going to have beautiful things in sight. So if I'm going to have something that has more of a functional purpose and not an aesthetic purpose, it has to go into some sort of storage piece of furniture or in a cabinet or, in a drawer. And so my kitchen is a good example because probably the only things that aren't aesthetically nice on the kitchen counter are the toaster and the sponges, but Matt's on here. I'm trying not to have Matt lose his mind, so that's why the sponges do not get put into storage. He will be like, where did you put those? But yes, in a perfect world, even the sponges and dish soap would be put out of sight. But so my kitchen is an example. I keep my countertop almost empty except for, my cute little copper plated pour over coffee thing. And, even what is on site and functional, like the dish rack is like stainless steel, like minimalistic looking. So everything that I do have in sight, even if it is functional, I've obsessed on how it looks in relation to the space. So, how is everyone doing? I will go back and check in. Time for your dance number. Okay, maybe if we stay till the end, I can have a little dance party. I'm down for that. DJ Nova says, haha, yes on the dance number. Well, maybe you'll have to come in and spin some beats for one of these luxury lives, then we can really have a dance party. Ginger gives me the heart. And a question. Do you prefer to buy new or refurbished? Oh, that's a great question. To be honest, I'm open either way. My biggest thing is that I guess the quality and the aesthetic. And if that means buying new, that's great. If I can find something that's refurbished or used, oftentimes you can find some really unique things that you just couldn't even find anymore. I think shopping for anything, you should spend the time and research your options, but shopping for antiques or vintage when I think refurbished, that's probably more what I'd be inspired to go after if I'm going to make that decision versus shopping new, because there's something in antiques and vintage that represents the quality or craftsmanship of that time of which it was made. So you might not be able to find anything like that anymore. And also, just the uniqueness, because I think the quality of things has really, and the materials of which things have been made, have really shifted over time and evolved over time. So if you can find something refurbished that's vintage or antique, then like hell yeah, that I would say go for that over something that's new and the quality isn't as good. But that said, design on the market is pretty unique. And I see Justing's on here. So Justing is one of the partners of Hodico. I will link that. Justing, hey, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining. How have you been? So Hodico is a new fabrics company and fabric store here in the city. They've been my friends for a while now. I went to school with Justing. And they are a great example of like how buying new is cool too, because now we have a lot of different materials. Sorry, there's a siren because I'm in the middle of the city. It's never quiet here. So shopping new nowadays, if you look for design-oriented products, you can find really unique materials like resins or silicone, like combined with old materials, or like Hodico, like fabric store, has some really like forward thinking, like new material fabrics. Oh gosh, I was down there and they have a fabric that is actually light reactive. So you do like flash photography and actually like explodes like iridescent color. So yeah, that's a benefit of shopping new. Is you could find some pretty cool things, because design right now is evolving and changing in really like, I guess, revolutionary ways because of all the technology. Deja June says, perfect world until your sponge makes your cabinets moldy. Yes, that's true. And that brings up another topic of conversation. If you should store your sponge in your cabinets, you might have to end up owning another item, just to like a little sponge drying rack, just so it doesn't make your cabinets moldy. So back to quality over quantity. DJ Nova, yes, I'll be over. Yes. I still have the disco ball, by the way. So yeah, anyone who's joined recently, if you have any questions on lifestyle, design, fashion, style, you can pop them in the comments, and I will answer it as this live goes on. So, okay. Back to the topic. So efficiency, I think. Efficiency around what you need to meet your lifestyle. And so that has to do with how you organize it. And it also makes it part of like your self-care, because you are organizing your belongings in order to give you more time to, get ready in the morning, do a beauty routine, or know where your yoga mat is, or put something out so you feel inspired to go do your yoga routine or whatnot. Like give yourself a designated space to maybe stretch or have your coffee and journal or meditate. So that's part of how I want you to think about organizing your interior as well. So yes, my rule, I aim to have only beautiful things visible and everything else stored. And this helps you to maintain a little better sense of organization, because it will be easier to clean. Clean surfaces are easier to keep clean. And you have more freedom to be inspired by what you have decided to place out on display. Yes. So, and then as far as deciding what to display that is more of a visual artistic thing in your interior, that goes all the way back to all the different design rules that I've covered in previous lives about balance, composition, color story, mixing prints and fabrics, and yes. So before I give my little chat on that, does anyone else have any questions about anything I've covered this far? How often do you find yourself remodeling a personal interior space? And what is the meaning of life? Oh, yes. These are perfect questions for Luxury Live. This is what I think about all day. So, yes, I'm going to just put down my new blog because it's actually just recently kind of revamped to just be a blog and a newsletter. I've debated a little bit on how I wanted that website to be. So that is the website URL. And I'm just going into the flow of writing about things. And so that is going to be definitely about topics on like action steps on how to, find your personal style, organize your interiors, all of those. But there might be some, introspective posts on there as well, and personal posts as well, answering questions like, what is the meaning of life? Hi, Ray of Sunshine. Thanks for joining my live. Okay, so how often do you find yourself remodeling a personal interior space? Well, remodeling is completely reconstructing, painting, redoing the floors. So that I probably have done a few different iterations of that since we've taken over the shop. Of course, we haven't quite dived in deep to a full remodel, but when we do, there will definitely be a YouTube video on that. As far as just reconfiguring, organizing, moving furniture around, I probably do that every day. And you can ask Matt. That is what I do. I just love to organize, and I like things to be clean. So I probably spend a couple hours a day doing it. And that's the truth. But of course, it's a whole involved artistic thing, the way I do it, where I maybe journal in between, or of course, it just works with my lifestyle because I have a shop. So if people come in, I do the consultations and, spend time with them. And then I go back to kind of making my shop look nice. And your second question, what is the meaning of life? Well, my meaning of life is, I discovered this and through design, actually. And there's some poetry on my website about this too. Not modernaf.style, dreafa.com has some poetry. So my meaning of life comes from my undergraduate, where I studied molecular cellular developmental biology because I wanted to understand the functionality of everything down to your cells. And this was my oh boy, Rusty's on. Hi, Rusty. Rusty, oh my gosh, I'm blushing now that Rusty is on because he came on for me about to tell you the meaning of life, which is hilarious. Yes, Rusty, I was asked for the meaning of life. I'm giving it. And yes, thanks for joining my live. Usually I talk about fashion and style, but now I'm about to talk about the meaning of life. So I studied molecular biology because I had to know what everything meant or how everything functioned on a microscopic level. But while I did this, I also had, my dancing was my source of creativity. So, a lot of studying molecular bio was like related to wanting to understand how the human body worked. But I still had kind of a balance from that by studying dance, like a creative balance. So yeah, this is a harder topic because it's a little bit personal. I broke my back in 2010 and I couldn't really dance the same way that I could before. And I still went and jumped back into dancing and kind of fought through the struggle. And, at that time I had to relearn how to walk, let alone dance. And I managed to, because of just that feeling of having to get back to where I was, I did recover fairly quickly. I mean, at least to the point where I could go back and dance. But I still had quite a bit of limitation for, years, really. I think it was 4 years before I could go back and take a ballet class. And having that creativity kind of, I guess, imposed on in a way, really shifted my thinking toward, or my need to find a creativity apart from what I originally thought I would do, which was science. And so I picked fashion and I picked design specifically because fashion and design for me design more than just fashion. Any type of design for me is a way to match the creativity with the function, the knowledge, and the thinking, and the actual way things work. So for me, design was kind of a way to create meaning out of being artistic. So there you have it. That's my meaning of life. It's how to, find meaning in something beautiful, but have it relate to the way things in life actually work. So hope that answers your question. Janitha says, lol, I can see you doing organization for 2 hours a day. Yes, and then I go and write about it. And then I go on live stream and I talk about it. Okay. Oh, yay, we have more people joining. Hadako the Fabric Store joined. Yay, thank you for joining. Lex joined. Yay, great to see you all. And Ender 1138 says, thank you for telling us your story. What a great tie-in to bring it all back around to this topic. Fantastic. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the story. I've thought quite a bit about, how to combine things. So I guess that's kind of the result of it. Rusty says, love it. Gonna put these kids to bed now. Thanks for tuning in, Rusty. Some champagne, applause, fire, kissy face emoji from DJ Nova. Thank you. And yay, another wave. Okay. Any other questions? So the last little part of my thing was going to be just a little bit more towards the aesthetic of your interior and just a little bit of a talk around placing things visually, I guess. And it's hard to talk about this as a concept, so if you need any clarification, just let me know. But I guess the best way to illustrate it is to think about composition again. So when I showed you composition, I showed you how to move, how to think about how things move in a visual. So I should just show you a visual. Okay. Perfect. This is my design studio, by the way, for those of you that don't know. So here we have my show poster for Bob Moses. It's kind of minimal, but it's a good example of composition because remember when I showed you composition on my live a couple weeks ago, and I talked about how your eye moves around a composition. So your eye moves towards people or symbolic imagery first. It moves to fonts first as well. So this is what defines a focal point of an image. If there's like color or something in a monochromatic image like this, then that's going to catch your eye first. So that's just kind of where in the composition is your eye going to go first. And then where is your eye going to move? So here in this composition, your eye might go to the font first because it's a little bit more graphic, and it might go up here first, but this is more of a shadow. So I suspect your eye would go to the font first. From there, it will move up to the second most noticeable point, travel along the diagonal, because this piece has a lot of diagonal lines. And then from there, it kind of settles into a negative space. And of course, in the framing as well, you have the balance between the fillet, the interior piece, and then the frame. So that, in terms of the frame, pulls your eye back into the piece. So I just gave you that little demo so that when you go out and start organizing your interior space, you can start thinking of it as a composition. So when you walk into the room, just take an observation of where does your eye travel and go, and is it good, or is it doing something nice to open the space and invite you into it, or is it distracting? For me, clutter is distracting, so I like to try and, clutter is something that can pull your eye away from something else that I think is distracting, and so therefore I want to clear the clutter so that your eye can go to something beautiful that you own. And that's kind of the process of decluttering for the sake of building your aesthetic, is that when you declutter things that are distracting, then you can see things that you own that are more beautiful or have more meaning to you. So I think that's it for my special topic. Wow. Yes. Any other questions? I did have one, just a little, thank you everyone for tuning in. This has become my favorite part of the week, and yeah, I just love having you all tune in and just talking about, your personal style, really, and your self-expression. It's been really positive. Okay, so I just had a question from Ginger before we started on where can you donate clothes, perfectly good used clothing. So I was just going to quickly answer a few places, as well as, maybe how to make a decision on where to donate. When you donate clothes, you have kind of the option of donating to a place like Goodwill or Salvation Army or Out of the Closet, where you can, you donate that for free, and the organization resells them to people to raise money for the organization. So that's kind of an indirect way to support a place. It's perfectly great. But depending on the type of clothing that you are going to donate, you can also consider other organizations with specific goals in mind. And I think the main one that I've been familiar with for a long time is Dress for Success. They donate clothing, like professional clothing, to women to help enable them to go to a job interview, or even past the job interview, how to still dress professionally even when they get the job. And it just is a specific organization specific for helping women dress to get them out of, where they might be in their life where they can't afford nice clothing. So yeah, that organization is just absolutely wonderful. But of course, that's more specific. If you have clothing that is like professional women's clothing. You wouldn't necessarily want to donate kids' clothing to Dress for Success. And then I just Google online where to donate nationally, and so I got some I haven't really heard of, but I'll just share with you. Sounds interesting, and you could look into. I see a place called Project Glam, a place called Room to Grow, Souls for Souls, so I'm guessing that's for shoes, and the Arc. So those four I haven't heard of, but they're on the internet as places, not nationwide places where you can donate clothes. DJ Nova, you're awesome. I love you. Thank you for the insight. Oh, you're so sweet. I love you too. Thank you for joining. Ginger says, I enjoy your broadcasts and Dress for Success. Yes, amen. Yes. Actually, there's a really great interview out there somewhere of the founder of Dress for Success. And she actually went on and started 2 more nonprofits. She pretty much passed on the management of Dress for Success, and she kept going. So just all around badass. I can't recall her name. It was an interview I watched like a year ago. All right, any other questions? I'm flying out tomorrow to see, emotional episode night. Flying out tomorrow to be with my sister, my mom, and my grandma. And I'll be gone for a week. It might be the last time I see my grandma. I don't know. But I will do a live cast for you next Tuesday as well. All right. Thank you all. Yeah, next week's live cast will be in Massachusetts. So, all right. Thanks for joining.